I hope my slides are visible to you. Any one of you just unmute yourself and please confirm. Hello.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. And as Ankit has rightly pointed out, that we will be having a look at Bloom's taxonomy, which is a baseline policy for the implementation of NEP 2020. Okay, but we will have a look at Bloom's taxonomy from a different perspective, wherein we will see that is how we can exploit Bloom's taxonomy for teaching, learning, and assessment purposes. So there are, as a matter of fact, there are three different perspectives of this taxonomy, and you must be aware that this can be used as a tool, okay, for doing everything when it comes to teaching, learning, and so on. So from that perspective, we'll just have a look at Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So this is what I have planned as far as this session is concerned. As a matter of fact, there are two sessions, but let's see that is how we can go ahead with both the sessions. Okay. So the very first aspect is we will be having a look at what they call it as various terminologies of Bloom's taxonomy, in particular, that is the psychologies of learning and so on. Okay, and then we will gradually move ahead with, you can say, the teaching learning process in general, right? So we'll have a look at what is teaching, learning, and so on. Okay, intentionally, I have kept these things on the agenda uh, because, as a matter of fact, I very well remember when I started my career as a teacher, particularly you all are from uh, technical engineering background. So we never undergo any sort of formal training when it comes to teaching, right? So I very well remember when I completed my BTech from government engineering, and the very next day I started teaching. So I was not, as a matter of fact, I was not a trained teacher. Okay, and that's why I'll be talking on some, you can say, the fundamental aspects of teaching and learning, and wherein we will have a look at that is some of the, you can say, the terminologies which are little bit confusing. I will not say little bit confusing. So we'll have a look at all those aspects. Then gradually we'll move ahead with the factors which influence learning, right? So there are numerous factors which influence the learning. And what are the modes of learning? Okay, transfer of learning. Again, when it comes to transfer of learning, there is a myth in our mind. That is, we feel that always a positive transfer takes place whenever you enter into a class and impart teaching, right? So, but that is not the case all the time. So, what is positive, negative, and you can say zero transfer of learning and various laws of learning? Again, we'll just try to have a look at. And rest of this, you can say the half of the session is basically devoted to what is assessment. So, our focal point would be that is how we can incorporate, you can say, various tools, online tools, particularly for making our life more comfortable, right? So when it comes to tool, there is a again a standard model which one can apply for identifying whether a particular tool is a standard tool or not. They call it as a SAMR model. So we'll have a look at that SAMR model, and we will apply this SAMR model to various tools, and then we'll just have a look at some of the tools in a greater detail, wherein I will demonstrate online that is how to work all with all those tools and so on, right? And in between, if time permits, I will offer you tea, that is teaching technology enabled assessment tools, right? Wherein we will discuss hot potatoes, maybe Socrative, Classkick, NetLogo, and there are few more when it comes to research and so on. So it all depends upon the time. This is what I have planned. These are the learning objectives. So let us move ahead with the very first thing which is there on the agenda. That is, what are the psychological learning? Various terminologies, we use it very often, right, in our day-to-day life. But they are a little bit confusing, okay, many times. And it leads to, you can say, various you can say, confusions when it comes to actually deliberating on those aspects. So the very first terminology is what they call it as the pedagogy, right? So what is pedagogy? We'll just try to digest. Then we'll move ahead with what is andragogy, what is teaching, learning, and training, and so on, right? So we will start from scratch what I intend to say, and then we will move to what is Bloom's taxonomy, what are the various domains of learning, and so on. So I would love to hear from you, what is your understanding of a pedagogy? I'll be happy if you can unmute yourself, any one of you, voluntarily, and you can come up with the answer. Okay, or see, the very first thing is that, as a matter of fact, I am not teaching you anything, right? I am sharing some of my experiences which I have acquired over a period of 3 decades. Okay, since I am into teaching since 1990, so this is roughly around 34 long years I spent in teaching, right? So those things I will share with you. So I would love to hear from you, particularly what do you understand by the term pedagogy? Any one of you? See, there are two possibilities. Abhay Gaikwad sir, I think you are very much there. So what do
Yes.
you feel? Yeah. What is your understanding of pedagogy?
Uh, Probably this B.Ed and all those courses are where yeah,
Sir,
cookies.
we cannot come with the answer wherein, sir, this is out of syllabus, some sort of thing, right? This is what you do as a matter of fact, right? We do every day in our, you can say, day-to-day life. Okay, but that's why I said, that's why I'll be talking on some aspects, some fundamental aspects. So pedagogy is what you do when you prepare for a class, right? It is as simple as that, right?
But
So anyway,
we
yes,
do
sir.
not prepare like what, right? I know, right. My wife she had done this course
Okay,
B.Ed. So
okay.
they used to prepare the topic where they prepare thoroughly, like what are the topics, their objectives, then their question
Oh, great,
banks,
great.
all things are which normally we
Oh,
do not do in our.
oh. So you mean to say it is not applicable to when it comes to teaching in a classroom environment for technical subjects?
No, no,
As a matter of,
it is there.
It
It
is
is
the
there.
way of teaching, sir.
It is
yeah,
there.
it is. Yes, you
Adhyapan
said it is a way of teaching. Yes,
But methodology is
Shastra, Adhyapan
different.
Shastra.
Adhyapan. Great, great.
Adhyapan
No, so
Shastra.
there are a lot of answers coming up. As somebody has said, it is a way of teaching, right? It is a
Yeah.
way of
Yes.
teaching. We will just try to have a glimpse at what is pedagogy is all about, right? So it is the method and practice of teaching, right? It is what it is exactly the method and practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or theoretical concept. So whenever you are delivering in a theory section, whatever approach you are adopting, it is nothing but the pedagogy, right? It is nothing but the pedagogy. So you do it, sir. Yes. So it is not correct to say that we do not adopt these kind of things. See, whenever you try, let's say I am delivering this particular session, okay, definitely I need to prepare for it, right? So you do it inherently, but many times we do not realize while doing it whether we are adopting some pedagogy or not. So it is the discipline that deals with the theory and practice of education. That's why many times it is also called as, it is concerned with the study of how best to teach. So what is the ultimate aim when you adopt a particular pedagogy is how best you can teach to the students so that they can understand the things quite easily and with a great less effort, I should say, right? So it is the theory of education, as I think Abhay Gaikwad sir have touched upon that particular aspect. So whatever you do, whenever you enter into the class, particularly a theory class, you adopt some or the other method. That is nothing but the pedagogy. That is nothing but the pedagogy, right? So I'll ask you again a question, because it will be a sort of interaction, as I've told you, right? Wherein I will share my experiences and I'll love to learn from you as well at the same time. So let's say you have been asked to deliver a theory session for tomorrow, maybe 10:45 to 11:45. What do you do? How do you prepare? Any answer? What are the various stages of, you can say, preparing for a lecture? or you do not prepare, you directly enter into the class without any sort of preparation?
No, we gather the content first.
Yes, great. So who was speaking? Avinash sir. And
Professor
so
Patil.
Professor Patil sir. Yes, you gather the content. Then what do you do next, sir? After gathering the content?
Sir, we decide all the contents what you have to teach,
Yes,
summarize
exactly.
it,
Yes.
and then what points to be covered. That we will decide first,
Okay.
and it should be such that whole one class should be covered.
Okay.
That
So
that
you
is what
plan
and
for it. What I intend to
explain.
say is you prepare a plan for it. Okay. As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, you follow a methodical approach. Okay, and you follow a
Yes.
five-step approach more specifically. What are those 5 steps? I'll just come up with the next slide will give you an idea. Okay, as somebody has said, we gather the information, meaning thereby you are going for the preparation. Let's say I'm delivering on this Bloom's taxonomy in today's session. So I must have prepared certain stuff for it. Okay. Then normally what do? You plan the presentation. Right now, this PowerPoint presentation is there. You present it. And while presenting, okay, many times what we do, we associate, right? These are the 3 important crucial steps. Okay. If you are not a trained teacher, normally you struggle in these 3 steps, right? The very first one is association, second is generalization, and the third one is the application. So I very well remember that is when I used to, even as on date, let's say if you are not prepared, okay, you may be good at preparation and presentation, but when it comes to association, generalization, and application, most of us we struggle. And as a matter of fact, this is the area which needs to be taken up very seriously. Okay, that is what do you understand by association, generalization, and application? Okay, say I very well remember I have been taught since I am from computer science. So we were having around 5 mathematics subjects, M1 to M5. Maths 1, Maths 2, Maths 3, Maths 4, Maths 5, something like that. And if you look at the title itself, the title were Applied Mathematics 1, Applied Mathematics 2, and so on. But even though the subject title itself was applied mathematics, we have been taught mathematics by a core mathematical teacher. I'm not saying that those teachers were good or bad. I'm not commenting their, you can say, the competencies, right? What I'm trying to say is we have been taught mathematics, maybe 5 subjects, but we have never ever been taught that is when it comes to applying a Laplace transform in you can say a digital signal processing or Z transform. So the application area, generalization, right? So we teach normally most of us we undergo training wherein we teach the subject in isolation. But as a matter of fact, irrespective of the subject you are teaching, whether it is chemistry, physics, mathematics, or for that purpose, look at any subject. Okay, each subject has got certain applications, right? So that application component is most of the time is missing. And when it comes to associating those things with the, you can say the real life scenarios and making a generalized solution, again, most of us as a teacher, we struggle, right? And that's why, because as a matter of fact, as Abhay Gaikwad sir has rightly pointed out, that we have never ever been trained. We are not a trained teacher, right? So it is not there in our curricula. That is how to teach, right? So how best to teach is the next step, but how to teach itself is missing somewhere. Okay, and that's why I said that I'll keep some fundamental stuff which will clear your ideas why this is important. This is equally important. You may be very good in you can say your subject, but when it comes to, so not all you can say the uh, persons having say sufficient knowledge, they are good teachers, right? So because as I said, because out of 5 stages, in the third, fourth, and fifth, most of us we struggle, right? And that is the bottleneck. That is the bottleneck. So the another terminology, if you remember, as far as this slide is concerned, is the andragogy. Anybody would like to comment on andragogy? What is andragogy? Have you heard this term? Any one of you?
No, sir. Not heard.
Acha, no issue. Right. So andragogy is basically when you are dealing with adult learners. So we do not adopt pedagogy over there. So if you are teaching to you can say small kids or maybe a high school or you can say middle school students, okay, you adopt some or the other pedagogy. But when you are dealing with, you can say, grown up adult, okay, now if you look at your college input, we have all adult learners, right? So we have all adult learners, and we cannot use pedagogy when it comes to teaching to adult learners. So you may ask, sir, what is the difference between andragogy and pedagogy? Okay, we'll just try to digest that thing once again, right? So as I said, it is the method and practice of teaching adult learners. So you may say, okay, what is the difference between adult learners and an ordinary student, right? So adult learning, the term was originally coined by German educator Alexander Kapp in 1833. Okay. Now, if you look at your, you can say the input, students admitted in your college, you have all adult learners. So what is the difference, as a matter of fact, between a small kid and an adult learner? Because in this case, what do we do? It is the science of understanding theory and supporting practice. So it is not only merely theory, but the practical aspects are again included here. Okay. And uh, it is based on humanistic conception of self-directed and autonomous learning, right? So how you can transform an ordinary student to a self-directed and autonomous learner, that is the biggest challenge here, right? And apart from that, your role, let's say if you are teaching in a school or a junior college, then you are a teacher over there. But when you are dealing with adult learners, you are no more a teacher. Now you are a facilitator of learning. Oh, this is, I hope this all of you will agree. That is, student, they not only learn from your class, but they learn from their peers. They learn from, you can say, other sources. So now, this is an era of technology. So they learn from lot many things, right? So your role is bit, little bit, you can say, rather it is challenge, I should say. Okay, so you need to treat yourself as a facilitator of learning. Okay, so you are no more a teacher. Okay, so never make a bold statement in your class whenever you are teaching that I am teaching. You are facilitating learning, right? And if you remember, see, these statements were valid when we used to teach way back in 1990. Then it is okay, because those days, as a matter of fact, the students were not equipped with, you can say, the e-learning platforms and so on. Now they learn little bit in the classroom, rather they learn more from the outside world. Right. So your role has changed from a teacher to a facilitator of a learning. That again one has to understand and accept. Right. So andragogy we have to adopt, not the pedagogy. Right. Now, what is teaching? Teaching, again, it is said that it is one of the most easiest job when it comes to any, if you look at any profession, okay, we feel that we are the most luckiest person in the world, right? But in my opinion, teaching is one of the most challenging and difficult tasks. Why I'm saying so? Let's say you are addressing to a class strength of 60 odd student. So as a matter of fact, you are facing 60 odd challenges in front of you, right? That's why it is said that teaching is an art, okay, and it is science and skill, right? So if you are a good teacher, you should have these three peculiar characteristics in you. One, the very first one is the creative proficiency of an artist, okay, the precise attitude of a scientist, and the perfected skills of a craftsman, right? So it is defined as an interactive process. Teaching is defined as an interactive process wherein there is a dialogue between you and the student. If there is no dialogue, meaning thereby there is no teaching taking place, right? If there is a monologue, that is, it is one way flow of information, then that doesn't mean that the teaching is taking place in that classroom, right? So that's why I said, teaching is basically, it is one of the most difficult tasks. It is not that easy to teach in a classroom environment, particularly in today's scenario, right? Now, what is training? Again, many times we get confused with these terminology. Training, it is an organized activity aimed at imparting information and or instruction to improve the recipient's performance or to help him or her to attain a required level of knowledge or skill, right? So it is basically of a shorter duration, right? So say, for example, if you want to learn how to drive a car, you join some training school. You never join a college for learning how to drive a car, right? So it is basically of a shorter duration. What are the peculiar characteristics of a training? It is of a shorter duration. It is expected to give immediate result. That is, after completion of that 4-week course, you should be able to drive the car, right? That is, immediate results are expected. And it has evolved in World War II. What has happened? If you look at the historical perspective of training, those days there was a dearth of, what should I say, the soldiers. So the ordinary citizens, they were trained to deal with, you can say, the warfare equipments, and they were, you can say, engaged in, you can say, rather, they were deployed in the various warfare front, right? So this is how it has evolved. So training is different, teaching is different, okay, and learning is one more thing. That is what we are going to have a look at. What is learning? It is basically, it is a relatively permanent change in behavior, okay, which results from reinforced practice. So whenever we say that the teaching is happening, we claim that the learning is happening there, right? But it is not all the time, right? There are exceptions to it. So it is, as a matter of fact, it is a process as well as a product. Now we need to understand this process and a product. What I intend to say about whether it is a process or a product, right? So whenever the student take admission, they undergo a process, maybe a 3-year or 4-year, whatever is the duration of the course, okay, and they are transformed into a product. So when they leave the institution, they are the brand ambassador of your institution. They become product, and that product will be evaluated against a set of standards, okay, and if they qualify that criteria, they are employable, right? So it is the nature or tendency of human beings. So it is not right to say that all the time the learning takes place in a classroom kind of environment or in laboratories. It is happening everywhere, okay? You learn all the time. It is the tendency of human being to learn, right? So it is the process of mental development. Now this is very important, and which is the focal point of our today's discussion. When it comes to mental development, there are 3 perspectives. One is the cognitive domain, second is the affective domain, and the third one is the psychomotor domain. So we will examine these 3 aspects in a greater detail when we will discuss Bloom's taxonomy, right? So as a matter of fact, if you look at our education system, we give undue focus to cognitive aspects, okay? Affective and psychomotors are missing. Okay, affective and psychomotors are missing. How to accommodate it? That is what this NEP talks about. Okay, so NEP, as a matter of fact, it follows. And NEP, as a matter of fact, it follows, rather, it uses all these 3 aspects of mental development: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And that too, ideally, they expect that the equal treatment should be given to all of them. Okay, and I think I was talking about the learning. So many times we say that learning is happening, meaning thereby positive uh, kind of transfer is taking place. So it is not at all, okay? It is both positive and negative. It is individual in nature, okay? And learning is, as a matter of fact, it is, you can say, it is creative activity, which makes you creative thinker. So if you are able to transform an ordinary student into a creative thinker, meaning thereby you have achieved your objectives, right? So this is, having said all these about teaching, learning, and you can say the you can say the mental development 3 aspects, that is the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. We will just try to have a look at the basic teaching model as a you can say holistic teaching learning environment. So now if you look at a basic teaching learning model, there are 4 black boxes, I should say, right? So the very first box is the instructional objectives. Now if you look at this session itself, the very first slide I put in, it was the learning objectives or the instructional objectives, right? So the very first thing, what do you do normally whenever you deliver on any particular topic? You set your objectives, okay? Because ultimately you will move ahead with those objectives and just try to finish up and just try to achieve all those objectives, okay? Second block talks about the entering behavior, okay? So let's say you have joined this particular course maybe on 10th of February. Okay, so you may be having some knowledge about NEP 2020. Then what is happening over a period of, you can say 7-8 days, you have been rather exposed to various aspects of NEP 2020. So your entering behavior was X before joining the sessions, rather before joining this particular course. Now it is being, you are being transformed. So you are having, definitely having some value addition into all those aspects. So entering behavior, that's why many times when you join some professional course, they conduct a 0 at that test. Okay, and then at the end of the course, they go for you can say the final assessment. Okay, and then you undergo instructional procedure, and at the end, your you can say performance is evaluated. So for performance assessment is there. So we'll just try to have a look at performance assessment in greater detail. Okay, but before moving ahead, I'll just read out the bottom line which has been written over there: 1,000 teacher, 1,000 method. Right. So you cannot claim. You may have a question like this, sir, which particular method is the best method to teach a particular subject? So there's nothing like that. There's nothing, no mantra or no, you can say, small thing what you can adopt for becoming a good teacher, right? So there are 1,000 teachers, 1,000 methods. So each individual is different. So you may adopt some or the other method. You cannot claim that this particular method is best for teaching this particular subject or concept, right? So having said that, let us move ahead with this teaching model, which I think I have already elaborated to you. That is, what are the instructional objectives students should attain upon completion of a segment of instruction. For example, I have jotted down some 7-8 objectives in the very first slide, okay, wherein I expect that at the end of this session, you should be in a position to have these many, you can say, qualities in yourself, right? So entering behavior, it describes the student's level before the instruction begin, okay, and then what you have instructional procedures wherein you are exposed to various aspects of the learning process. Okay, and at the end we have a performance assessment. So we'll be having more focus on how we can use this Bloom's taxonomy as a performance assessment tool. Okay, that is what is our focal point as far as today's session is concerned. Before moving ahead, we need to understand there are various factors which affects the learning process, right? So what are all those factors? Okay, there are some personal factors. They are categorized into two categories. One is the personal factor and the second is the environmental factors. So now if you look at the personal factors, they are, I don't think that they require any sort of explanation. They are all self-explanatory: sensation and perception. So each individual has got different capabilities, okay, when it comes to learning. Okay, and that's why we have slow learner, we have fast learner, and so on. Right? Fatigue and boredom, right? Age and maturation. Okay, it is said that the young kids, they are more fast when it comes to learning. Okay, right? Then emotional condition. Let's say I'm running 58, and you ask me to learn how to drive a car at this age, at this point of time. It will be a little bit difficult for me to learn. Let's say had I been exposed to this maybe when I was young, maybe 20 years or 25 years, it is a bit easier to learn, right? So your age and maturation, and again, those factors plays a vital role, okay, when it comes to factors influencing the learning. Again, there are needs, interest, motivation. Okay, what is the motivation? Let's say, for example, you are undergoing this course. The motivation is at the end of the course, you will get a certificate which can uh, help you out when it comes to career advancement scheme and so on, right? So then you have intelligence. So each individual is different. So you have different intelligent capabilities, aptitude and attitude. These aspects definitely will touch upon when it comes to the affective domain. Okay, and that's why I said this NEP talks about the holistic development of a student. Okay, wherein aptitude and attitude are equally important. It is not merely the knowledge which is important, but your attitude and aptitude plays a vital role, right? Particularly when it comes to your employment and so on, right? So there are other factors as well. That is the environmental factors, maybe the surroundings, okay, relationship with teachers, parents, and peers, media influence on learning. Okay, all those aspects are there. Those things comes into the environmental factors of you can say the learning, which affects the learning. Okay, now what are the modes of learning? Okay, there are, as a matter of fact, 4 modes of learning. So normally we feel that the learning takes place within the classroom environment. Again, it is not correct. Learning takes place by 4 different methods. Learning by observation, and that's why it is said that the teachers are the role model. So whatever you do, the way in which you walk, the way in which you talk, okay, the student learn from that, right? So learning by observation, learning by imitation, learning by trial and error. For example, if you are in a laboratory instructional setup, okay, then the student learn by simply playing with the equipments. Okay, so they learn by trial and error. Okay, and the highest level of learning is what they call it as the learning by insight. Okay, when the students are capable of becoming, or say asking a creative thinker or creative learners, okay, then you can claim that you have achieved the highest level of learning, right? So ultimately learning by insight is the topmost level of learning, right? Topmost level of learning. Now, transfer of learning, again, I have told you that we will invest some maybe 10-15 minutes on understanding these important aspects, which as a teacher, we must know. Okay, unfortunately, all of us, those who are from technical background, we never undergo any sort of training when it comes to teaching and learning. Okay, that's why intentionally I have kept this stuff. Okay, and it is very much relevant with regard to NEP 2020. Okay, so there are 3 types of learning. One is the positive, second is negative, and the third one is zero. Okay, so all the time we feel that whenever we are teaching, so the learning is happening, and that too a positive transfer of information is taking place. Okay, but as a matter of fact, it is not the case all the time. If the learning of a particular task interferes with the learning of the subsequent task, then a negative transfer takes place. It happens many times. Okay, when you try to explain certain things, which creates confusions in the student's mind. Okay, and if the learning of a task makes no difference, it is said to be a zero transfer. That is again possible. I'm not saying that it happens all the time, but these possibilities are again there. One has to understand. Okay, and we need to take how you will come to know whether a positive transfer is taking place or a negative transfer is taking place, or there is no difference. Okay, it is simply by interacting with these students. Okay, that's why interaction and dialogue is the utmost characteristics of teaching and learning. Right. There are 4 basic laws of learning. Again, we will just try to have a cursory look at those things. Law of readiness. Let's say you are not ready to listen, and I am simply bombarding you with the lot of stuff. Okay, so the student must be ready to acquire the knowledge. They must be in a mood to listen to you. Okay, if they are in a joyous mood and you are engaging the class, okay, it is of no use, right? Law of practice. Okay, the teacher should ensure repetitive practice. Okay, and that's why normally we give them assignment and so on. Law of effect, right? A teacher should provide a good conducive environment. This is utmost important, right? See, your role as a teacher is now challenged, particularly with the era of, you can say, the AI and all this technological front, whatever is happening. Okay, so as a matter of fact, you should provide a conducive environment wherein the learning takes place. Okay, even if you do this is more than enough. This is more than enough, right? Right. So, what is learning? It is a permanent change in behavior resulting from reinforced practice. Okay. So, what a student can do something after the instruction which he could not do before, he is said to have learned. Okay. It is, to put it in very straightforward words. Okay. Earlier, he was not able to do the same thing. Okay. After going through the instruction and the practice, if he is capable of doing that particular thing, okay, he is said to learn. Is said to have learned, right? So it refers to the change in behavior, permanent change. Again, that is very important to note. Permanent change in behavior. Okay, if one is really learning, one's behavior becomes more effective and more adaptive. Okay, you become more effective, at the same time you become more adaptive. Okay, then and then you can claim that the learning is happening in that environment, right? Now we will just move ahead with what is, you can say, our original stuff on which I was supposed to talk. Okay, having said all these fundamental aspects of teaching, learning, and so on, laws of learning, transfer of learning, right? Let us move ahead with what are the 3 domains of learning, okay, which is nothing but the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's talks about these 3 domains of learning. The very first domain is what they call it as the cognitive domain. So cognitive domains wherein we talk about what they call it as the knowledge and the intellectual skills. Okay, so the more focus is given to you can say acquiring knowledge, okay, and intellectual skills. Affective domain wherein we talk about what they call it as the emotions and attitudes. Okay, affective domains. And the psychomotor domain, which is equally important, particularly for professional courses or science and technology courses, that is utilizing your physical and kinesthetic, that is learning by doing. Okay, what do you do inside a laboratory environment? Okay, that is nothing but the psychomotor, right? So having said these three domains, okay, what is normally, if you look at our education system, that too particularly, even now let us try to relate it with your technical education in particular, you will find that we give undue importance to the cognitive aspects and we simply ignore the affective and psychomotor. Psychomotor, again, it is up to some extent it is there, but when it comes to implementation, again, we have a lot of problems. I will touch upon all those aspects when in the slides to come. But time being, we need to understand, if you look at this particular diagram, you can very well understand that teaching is on the top, and then you have on the bottom line, the learning is happening. And in between, you have got these three boxes. What are those boxes? The very first box is the cognitive, wherein we are talking about understanding, problem solving, deriving a formula, and application. That is knowing, knowledge. Okay, we are referring to cognitive, meaning thereby we are referring to the knowledge. Now, when it comes to assessment, most of the time we evaluate the student on cognitive aspects only, right? Let's say you are working on, maybe you have a programming methodology paper. I am from computer science. Okay, you expect that the student should mug up the concept and reproduce in the examination hall. Okay, affective aspect, that is the feeling wherein we have values, attitudes, you can say the interest and discipline, again they are missing in our education system. I'm not saying they are completely missing, but they have been given less important, right? How to accommodate it, that is what we are going to have a look at. And the third and the most important aspect is the psychomotor, that is learning by doing, maybe practical skills, driving, assembling, and painting, right? So having said this, it is also referred to as a KSA kind of environment. Okay, so if you look at the upper block, you have got the teaching, and then we have all these three domains, and the mental development is taking place. The students are learning, and we are transforming the student from an ordinary student to a lifelong learner, right? Or a critical thinker, right? So having said this, let us move ahead with, you can say, the cognitive aspects, which is nothing but the knowledge level. Now, if you look at your, you can say, the examination pattern, okay, you will be surprised, okay, that most of the questions are on the cognitive domain. Okay, we never ever go for what they call it as the, I think yesterday I was listening to Professor Ali. He was again touching upon all those aspects, right? So we need to give, you can say, equal importance. I should say maybe 33, and 34%. Okay, as far as these three domains are concerned, right? So skill component and then the attitudes are equally important. Okay, many times when you go for placement activity, okay, most of the time the corporate world people, they select students who are ordinary when it comes to your, you can say, their academic performance, maybe having a 7 or 6.5 pointer. Okay, they ignore 9.5 pointers or 9.9 pointers. Okay, if you ask them, they will come up with the answer, okay, sir, the student is very good as far as the technical knowledge is concerned, but he is not a good fit when it comes to, you can say, the work culture and working in a team, and the, you can say, the attributes we require for, you can say, our employee. Okay, so you may be, you can say, exceptionally good when it comes to, you can say, the knowledge, but while applying that knowledge, while interacting with the customer, while dealing with, you can say, the, you can say, the teammates, okay, you are having some attitudinal problem. So they will not, because knowledge can be quite easily incorporated by undergoing maybe a short-term course, but attitudes and skills, right, they are a bit difficult to acquire at the later point of time, right? Now, having said this, let us move ahead with what is Bloom's taxonomy. So what has happened? Dr. Benjamin Bloom, okay, he was working with a US university, and he has come up with a beautiful document, okay, which is now worldwide known as the Bloom's taxonomy, and he has come up with this taxonomy way back in 1956. Okay, so as a matter of fact, he has been assigned. Uh, he, along with maybe few more his colleagues, okay, he has been assigned with a study to undertake, for example, for say the intellectual behavior of the student. That is how the student learn. So he has come up with a beautiful theory, what is called as the instructional theory, which categorizes levels of learning. So there are 6 different levels of learning which he has come up. Okay, you just look at the way in which the developed nations, countries, you can say the committees work. And I am also again a person from you can say the university background. Okay, so how do we work, right? It was a outcome of a committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Benjamin Bloom, and they have come up with such a beautiful document which has revolutionized the education world, right? So he proposes a tool, okay, Bloom's taxonomy, you can use it as tool for instructor to assist with writing learning outcomes. That is slide number 1, if you remember. To curriculum mapping, curriculum planning, content delivery, as well as assessment. So this is, you can say, a holistic approach which touches upon all the aspects of teaching, learning, and assessment, right? Starting from scratch to finish, right? So he has come up with such a fundamental or a beautiful document. Okay, it is also called as the taxonomy of learning objectives. Okay, that is the another name given to Bloom's taxonomy. And what was his observation? He, along with his team, they observed that 95% of the test question, when it comes to assessment, require them to think only at the lowest possible level. And what is that level? The level is the recall. Okay, normally we have questions in the question papers like define, explain, right? And so on and so forth. 95% of the question. This was his observation way back in 1956 in his own study which he has conducted in United States of America, right? Their education system I am talking about. And if you look at our education system, it is no exception. It is almost same, right? It is almost same. So it is hierarchical, which means the learning at the higher level depends on the having attained the prerequisite knowledge and skills at the lower level. So the output of one level is the input to the next and so on, right? It is something like that. We'll just have a look at those domains. So this is the very first domain. What is the cognitive domain? Wherein he said that the knowledge is the lowest level. Then comprehension is there. Application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. This is how he has classified, okay, into 6 different level, right? 6 different level, wherein knowledge is at the bottom. Knowledge is at the bottom. And what was his observation? That when it comes to assessment, 95% 95% of the questions were testing the knowledge only of the student, right? Not the other aspects, maybe comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. This was his observation, and that's why he come up with some solution to it. Okay, so each level has a list of action verbs. What are all those action verbs? That is what we will have a look at. Okay, and remember is the lowest level. Okay, remember is the lowest level, which is the knowledge level, and each step up builds on the one below, acquiring the higher level of thinking and more difficult learning activities. Okay, so moment you go to the 6th level, which is the highest level, it is the most difficult task to you can say deal with, right? And the bottom one, that is remember, is the most easiest task, one can say, right? So having said this, these are the keywords. Now if you look at any year's examination paper, okay, you will find that what kind of keywords normally we have. Now on the right hand side, you can very well see that the keywords like you can say the identify, describe, name, label, recognize, okay, procedure, and follow, these things are there, right? So we know most of the time we work at the bottom level, that is the knowledge level. When it comes to comprehension, just look at any paper and just try to find out whether summarized, convert, defend, paraphrase, interpret, give example up to some extent is there. Most of the time we write that is explain this with the help of some examples, right? Or give examples. Okay. So application again, it is up to some extent it is there. That is build, make, construct, model, predict, and prepare. So these words again, I don't think as it is they are present in our you can say evaluation system. Analysis, compare, contrast, breakdown, right? Distinguish, select, separate, synthesis, put idea together to form something new, categorize, generalize, reconstruct. And if you look at the highest level, which is the evaluation, okay, wherein you have appraise. I don't feel that I have never came across such kind of keywords in the question paper. Critic, okay, judge, justify, argue, and support. Okay, up to some extent, maybe if you look at the management papers, right, you may find these words were there. But apart from that, in engineering, I don't feel that these kind of keywords are there in the question paper, right? And how to incorporate it is that is one of the biggest challenge, right? But that is one of the biggest challenge, right? So how we can use Bloom's level to achieve all those things, that is what we are going to look at in today's deliberation. Okay, use Bloom's action verbs to write learning outcomes. So whatever I have jotted down in slide number 1, just after my you can say the title slide, those learning outcome you can very well write by using Bloom's keyword, right? Using Bloom's level to structure course content, that is curriculum mapping. Your institution is not, as a matter of fact, autonomous, but those who are implementing autonomy, okay, the biggest challenge is how to map all those objectives when you design the curriculum, what they call it as the COPO mapping and so on, right? How you can use Bloom's to assess, measure student progress. So the third one is pretty important for us, okay, which we will examine in greater detail, right? So how we can use Bloom's taxonomy to assess or measure student progress. Okay, what are the various tools? And again, all those aspects we'll touch upon. But before that, as I said, analyze, evaluate, and create. These three, and particularly you can say the classify, determine, design, formulate, build, invent. I have never ever seen wherein a keyword like invent appears in the examination, right? Generate, derive, up to some extent it is there, but again, in some different context. Okay, so analyze, evaluate, and create. That is how you can go to these three levels. Up to application, we are a little bit comfortable. That is, if you look at our question papers, you may find that maybe knowledge and comprehension and application. Up to that, we are very much comfortable with. But the fourth, fifth, and sixth are particularly missing, right? When it comes to evaluation, particularly, right? So structure course content using Bloom's to plan, begin at the lower level, Bloom's category, right? So as I have told you, that is the lowest level is the most easiest level. Okay, and moment you little bit move ahead, okay, maybe second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, the difficulty level increases. Okay, so how you can achieve this, that is what we are going to look at in a greater detail, right? But in between, what has happened, that is after Bloom has proposed this Bloom's taxonomy, okay, one of his student, that is Lauren Anderson, he has come up with what they call it as the revised Bloom's taxonomy, right? So he has made two small changes with the Bloom's taxonomy. The very first thing he proposed as a change is changing the names in the 6 categories from noun to verb forms, right? From noun to verb forms, right? And the second change he proposed, rather which was accepted by the word community, is he has interchanged the evaluate and the create level. That is fifth and sixth level he has interchanged. Okay, so these two minor changes, I should say. And the second change is again very, you can say, obvious, because creativity has to be on the top. Okay, so that's why he has interchanged that creativity and the evaluation. Okay, so creating processes and levels of knowledge matrix. Okay, and it differentiate between knowing what, the content, and knowing how. Okay, that is the procedure, right? That is the procedure. Okay, so this is how he has come up with the revised Bloom's taxonomy, and it is known as the. So if you look at the earlier original Bloom's taxonomy, there we have knowledge that has been replaced by remember. Then I think we were having, you can say, analysis. Okay, that is being replaced by understand. Application. Okay, then apply. Analysis, analyze, evaluate and creativity. I have told you that these two things are interchanged. Okay. So he kept evaluate at the fifth level and the creativity at the top level. This is what is there in the revised Bloom's taxonomy. And if you look at NBA, NAC and all, okay, we follow this revised Bloom's taxonomy for the implementation of the COPO and other things, right? What are the knowledge dimension, right? There are, you can say, if you look at the left hand side, okay, you have factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and metacognitive knowledge. So there are basically 4 levels of knowledge dimension, okay, wherein the factual knowledge is nothing but the basic elements student must know, which is the lowest level. Okay, then conceptual, it is the interrelationship among the basic elements, how they are related with each other. Then procedural, that is how to do something, method of inquiry. Okay, using some skills, maybe algorithm techniques and methods. Okay, metacognitive, now this is important, that is knowledge of cognition in general as well as awareness about the knowledge of one's own cognition. So you may be having your own cognition, I may be having my own cognition. So this metacognitive varies from person to person, it is relative term, right? So there are 4 levels of knowledge and 4 dimension of knowledge. Okay, and the second aspect, if you remember, I think when I was talking about the mental development, the very first one was the cognitive, second one was the affective domain. So Kruthol, again, he was a member, one of the active member of Bloom's, right? So he has come up with what they call it as the Kruthol's taxonomy for affective domain, right? So wherein he has come up with all those aspects of, you can say, an individual, that is how you receive the knowledge: receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. So 5 categories he has come up with. Okay, all these categories are, I should say, they are very much self-explanatory. That is, receiving refers to the student's willingness to attend to a particular phenomena, right? Responding, responding refers to active participation on the part of the student. Say you are asking, interacting with the student, and if he is responding, it is of that sort, right? What is valuing? Valuing is concerned with the worth or value a student attaches to a particular object. Now it varies from student to student, right? Then you have organization, which is concerned with bringing together different values, resolving conflicts, okay, and so on. Okay. So, having said this, that is, this is the Kruthol's affective domain taxonomy. Okay, let us go ahead with our original, that is Bloom's taxonomy, wherein we'll be focusing more on, you can say, the cognitive aspects. Okay, and as I have told you, that is half of the session is devoted to what should I say? Assessment in particular. So how to make, you can say, the job of a teacher when it comes to assessment little bit comfortable. That is what we are going to discuss in the rest of the session, right? So as I've told you, that is Bloom's taxonomy can be used from writing the learning objectives to the assessment, which is the last block. If you remember, we just try to correlate with the, you can say, the model which we have discussed. Okay, the very first model is the defining the learning objectives, and the last model, if you remember, the fourth model is the assessment. So you can use Bloom's taxonomy for all these 4 blocks. Okay, we will be focusing on the first part we have already covered. We will be focusing on how to use it for assessment purpose. Okay, so you can set, let's say if you are dealing with multiple choice questions, you are working at Bloom's level 1. Okay, if you are working with summarizing an article, as a matter of fact, you are working on Bloom's level 2, that is understanding. Okay, if you are working at, you can say, the analyze case study, you are working at analysis. Okay, which is nothing but the Bloom's level 4. And if you are having a question like this, that is create a spreadsheet, you are working at the highest level of Bloom's, which is the 6th, which is nothing but the creativity. Okay, so how we can encompass all these things in a single question paper, that is what we are going to have a look at, right? Now, but before moving ahead with the, you can say, the assessment tools and so on, we need to understand as a teacher what are the problems, particularly in technical education, we are facing, right? So there are numerous problems, I tell you, numerous problems. The very first one is we give undue focus on certification. I'll share one small story with you, right? I very well remember when I have applied for a lecturer position way back in 1994. It was for Government Polytechnic Advertisement, right? And I have applied, and one of my colleague, I will not name him, but he also applied. He applied for a position lecturer in electronics and communication. Okay, so the positions were lecturer in computer technology, and the another position was lecturer in electronics and communication. Okay, but he was having a degree electronics and telecommunication. So what has happened when we both of us we applied, his application got rejected, and the reason was tele was missing in that degree. And as per the recruitment rule, BE BTech in electronics and telecommunication was expected. Right. So just look at, see why I'm saying, even though it seems to be uh, pretty, he approached the MPSC office, tried to explain them, sir, Amravati University offers this degree, and it is very similar to that. There is no difference between telecommunication and communication. But the clerk was insisting, he was saying telecommunication is not written over here, so you are not eligible. Right. So we give undue focus on certification. This is I think old story I am talking about, but still there are very hard boundaries, I should say. Right. Undue focus on marks, fixed passing criteria. The integrity of the teachers is many times questioned. Right. So we declare somebody as fail when he or she scores 39, and since our passing criteria is 40, so we feel that he has failed in that particular subject. Right. Now, if you look at the premier institutions like you can say IIM and IIT, Triple IT, okay, they don't have fixed passing criteria. The individual teacher decides, depending upon the difficulty level, he may decide even 10 marks out of 100 as the passing criteria. So he has that liberty to decide, right? So we give undue focus on marks, right? We need to think on all these issues, right? Being a teacher, lack of qualitative feedback, 360-degree feedback. Now the AICT has come up with that 360-degree feedback, but we are reluctant to adopt it, right? Lack of assessment of high-level outcomes. High-level outcome meaning thereby I am referring to Bloom's fourth, fifth, and sixth level outcomes, right? Lack of assessment of complex outcomes, negligible assessment in the psychomotor and affective domain. Okay, just see how you test the student when it comes to psychomotor and affective domain. Okay, once again, I'll with due respect to all the teachers. Okay, if you look at our university system in our university examination pattern, the student they never ever fail when it comes to practical examination. If he is physically appearing in the examination, he will get, rather he passes in the flying colors. Okay, he passes in the flying colors. So, as a matter of fact, you are the biggest enemy. Now, if you look at the university within Maharashtra only, particularly, let's say, Pune University, you will find that there the student fails in practical as well. Most of the time, 10 to 20% student, they fail in the practical. Why it is so? Because they have a different method of conducting practical. Most of the time, they call, what should I say, the industry people for conducting the practical examination. So those people, they don't have any sort of, you can say, I'll visit your institute and you come to my place and we will have goody kind of thing, right? So that is not there, right? And that's why the students are more afraid of when it comes to practical examination, right? Theory is not that big deal for them, right? So, but in our system, even if the students do not respond, okay, we pass them. Most of the time, we pass them, that too with flying colors. Let's say it is an examination of 25 marks. We give 21, 22, 23. As a matter of fact, you are the biggest enemy of the student because you throw your, I should say, the load to the rest of the world, and the industry will decide whether he is employable. And then he cry for he's not getting employment because he is not having any skills, right? So we have liberal marking. Again, you are one of the biggest enemy, particularly the institutions who are running autonomy. Okay, they are having these kind of problems. Okay, I will not name the institution, but whenever they declare their result, 99% of the student pass with 9 pointers and above. Is it possible? It is not a normal distribution, right? You don't have a bell type curve, right? So hardly 10% has to be in that A plus band. But unfortunately, everybody is having A and A plus, right? That is simply impossible. lack of assessment culture and language of assessment. So that keywords I was talking about, that is again needs to be incorporated when it comes to evaluation, right, or assessment, right? So these are the problems in particular we as academic fraternity from technical education, we are facing it, right? Now let us move ahead with what they call it as assessment and evaluation. Many times we use them interchangeably, but they are not same. Okay, what is assessment? Assessment is an ongoing process. Okay, aimed at understanding and improving students' learning, and that's why many times we put an adjective, what they call it as a continuous assessment, right? Because it is maybe after every 1 unit or 2 unit you conduct CT1, CT2, and so on, right? So it is a continuous, it is of continuous sort. Whereas evaluation is the judgment or determination of the quality of the performance, product, or use of process against a standard. So when your student passes and he leave your institution, he is basically evaluated, and he is evaluated by whom? By the corporate world. And then they say, well, the students passing out in computer science from IIT Bombay is the best, right? So how do you get these kind of things? So evaluation is a bit different, right? It takes place at the end. Okay, assessment is a continuous process. That is the thin demarcation line between assessment and evaluation. Now, when it comes to assessment, which type of assessment and why assessment is important? Okay, before moving ahead, I feel that it is appropriate that you should go through this very first line. That is, cooking is easy, but washing the utensil is difficult. Okay, I hope all the ladies staff member, they will, uh, I should say, endorse these statements, right? And that's why they assign the rest of the second portion to their better half, right? So on the parallel line, lecturing is easy, but conducting assessment is difficult. Okay, delivering any theoretical stuff in a classroom kind of environment is bit easier, but when it comes to assessment, it is most difficult part. But we take it very casually. I'm not saying I'm not the exception. Okay, all of us. Okay, I'm not criticizing anybody, but all of us, we take that assessment very casually. So not all students own the responsibility of their learning, but given the competing pressure on students' times in a digital age, successful learners focus on what will be examined and how they can most effectively meet the assessment requirement. So our focus is getting through in the examination. Okay, we are after numbers. Okay, we are after numbers. So therefore, the decision about methods of assessment, okay, it creates a, you can say, doubt in everybody's mind. So that is one of the biggest challenge. Okay, now, as I've told you that in between, okay, I'll offer you tea. So this is the time for tea, and let us move ahead with that is how we can incorporate technology when it comes to assessment. Okay, that is technology-enabled assessment. Okay, which encompasses the use of computers to deliver, assess, and analyze assignment, assessment, or examination. That is how we can make use of various tools for assessment in particular, right? Now, earlier there were issues when it comes to, you can say, online assessment. There were issues like, say, some tools were good for setting MCQs, but they were, sorry, madam, you want to speak something? I don't know. If you have any queries or if you want a break, we'll break for 5-10 minutes, no issue, right? Or if you allow me to continue, I'll continue for maybe another 1 hour or so. Yes. I hope I am audible and you people are with me. Whether you want a break for 10-15 minutes or shall I continue? There are two possibilities anyway. Leave it, right? So when it comes to objective testing, okay, it is suitable. Some tools are suitable for objective testing. Some tools are suitable for subjective testing. Okay, but nowadays all these online tools, they are capable of you can say handling both subjective as well as objective assessment. It is not merely the MCQs or true or false, but you can even have subjective assessment wherein you can ask the student to explain a particular thing. Okay, so all those functionalities nowadays, they are incorporated on these tools, right? So there is one more type of assessment, what they call it as the diagnostic assessment. Okay, that is typically used for understanding what is the level of the student, what is wrong with the student, right? What are the problems associated when it comes to assessment and so on. And there is one more terminology which is used, is the summative assessment, which is usually carried out at the end of the semester, what we call it as the end semester examination, right? And there are terminologies like, say, integrative assessment, okay, wherein you can have integration of 2, 3 module in a single go. Okay, all those things are the sort of assessment one can carry out with the help of some technology enabled tool. Okay, now having said this, we have tools available for each of these category. Okay, say for example, diagnostic assessment, we some of the tools you may be using. Okay, maybe you must have used Google Form. I think that is very popular tool, and which almost all of us we use it, right? Then there are tools like, say, hot potatoes. Okay, hot potatoes, clickers. Then for formative assessment, we have class kick, hot potatoes, answer garden is there. Okay, for summative assessment, you have hot potatoes, class kick, Flipgrid, e-portfolio, project work, laboratory work, Rubyster, okay, or e-portfolio. All these tools are there. Okay, when it comes to collaborative learning assessment, we have again a set of tools, what they call it as Flipgrid, Geoparty Labs, Portfolio, e-portfolio, and so on. Right. Now, if you critically look at this particular slide, you will find that there are certain tools which are repeatedly appearing, like, say, hot potatoes. So what we will do, we will have a hands-on on hot potatoes. I will demonstrate. This is a freeware. Okay, I will demonstrate in the live session.
बडबड करत होते ना ते सेवालाल महाराज जयंतीच्या दिवशी हार नाही आणला.
Madam, you are requested to please mute yourself.
आज मोरेला म्हटलं उद्यासाठी हार आणि फुलं घेऊन या, म्हटलं हार नाही आणायला चालत ना म्हणे मॅडम.
Madam,
मॅडम नाही म्हणते.
I don't know who is speaking, but
मी म्हटलं घेऊन या म्हटलं एक हार. असं होईल का की त्या दिवशी नाही आणलं आणि या दिवशी आणलं.
Madam, I request you to please mute yourself. Hello.
फुलंच आणायला लावू फक्त.
Hello.
हो बाई मॅडम, किती हो
Hello.
कसं कसं वागावं आणि काय करावं काही समजायला मारत नाही.
Madam,
हाँ देशमुख मैडम
त्या
है
दिवशी
सर,
मुलांनी
देशमुख मैडम
आतापर्यंत जितक्या जयंत्या झाल्या.
sir, जरा
Hello.
थोड़ा देखिए please.
So please
हेलो
देशमुख
देशमुख मैडम
मैडम देशमुख मैडम हाँ ओके सर
चलिए, sorry, ठीक है.
ओके सर
चलिए, no issue. So what I was talking about all these tools. Okay, so before moving ahead with certain tools, okay, we need to understand whether a particular tool is a standard tool or not. How to examine whether a tool is a standard or not? We have a model, what they call it as the SAMR model. So we'll just try to have a look at SAMR model, and then we will move ahead with the demonstration of some of the tools, right? So this SAMR model, as the name suggests, it was developed by Dr. Rubin, and it is a framework for examining how technology can be adopted in a classroom environment. So each character of this SAMR stands for something. Okay, and if your tool, let's say, satisfies this particular criteria, what is called as the SAMR criteria, you can very well conclude that it is a standard model, right? For example, the very first one is substitution. Substitution meaning thereby students can fill out the forms online instead of using a paper or a pen. Okay, so if it is there, let's say we will just try to apply this criteria to, for the sake of example, let's say Google Form. So it is there, if I'm not wrong, right? So substitution, student can fill out the forms online. It is very much there. Augmentation, teachers can curate the students' responses from the spreadsheet automatically. Again, this is very much there, augmentation in Google Form. So meaning thereby these two parameters are satisfied. Third one is M. M is for modification. Teachers and student can collaboratively analyze, contrast, and compare results immediately after individuals fill out the form. Again, this facility is there in Google Form itself. Redefinition, that is, teachers can reach out to unlimited learners all around the world. again, this feature is there in Google Form. Okay, you can share it with the rest of the world. Anywhere, anytime, the student can appear. So, meaning thereby, Google Form satisfies the SAMR criteria. Meaning thereby, it is a standard model, right? So, which you can adopt in your teaching learning environment. So, having said this, what are the other tools? That is what we are going to look at. And one of the most popular, as I have told you, is the hot potatoes, right? Hot potatoes is one of the very popular tool, a very handy tool. As a matter of fact, it is a freeware. Okay, you can download it and you can start using it without any hitch, right? You need not have to pay a single pie for using it because it is a freeware, right? It is a freeware. And as I've told you, that is, it can be used. If you look at the, you can say, the assessment slide, if you remember, or if you just try to recall, okay, so it can be used for very many purposes. So that's why I'm specifically talking on this particular tool. So it is a bundle of tool which is comprised of 5 different utilities. As a matter of fact, 6 utilities are there. Sixth one is called as the masher, which can be used for creating one single unit out of these 5. Okay, so J quiz for creating a quiz, J close for filling the blanks, J cross for the crossword puzzle, J match for match the following sort of exercise, J mix for jumbled sentence exercise, right? So you have a bundle, okay, which is there are around, I should say, 6 hot potatoes, okay, and you can use each one of them for performing or for setting questions of one particular time. We will just try to have a you can say a live demonstration here in the session itself. Okay, these are some of the screenshots, okay, but I'll not talk much, rather I will demonstrate it. J quiz for creating a quiz. This is J close for creating a fill in the blank sort of exercise. Then you have J cross, which you can use for creating a crossword sort of exercise, okay, crossword sort of exercise. And you have a match the following for J match, okay, wherein you can create a J match, okay, you can use this J match. And if you want to create a jumbled word exercise, you can very well use J mix, okay. So these are the 5 hot potatoes, and the 6th one is the masher. So masher can be used for creating one unit of all those 5 exercises, whatever you have created, using the 5 hot potatoes, right? What are the key takeaways as far as this session is concerned? Most of the time we work at the lowest level, that is the knowledge level. How we can move ahead from that lowest level to the highest level, that is the creativity level, right? That is the key takeaway as far as this particular session is concerned. Okay, now having said this all theoretical stuff, I will go ahead with you can say the demonstration of some of the tools. Okay, before that, if there are any questions, I will be happy to answer. I will take few questions, okay, if you have any. Now, let me stop sharing first of all. Okay. So there are around 66 participants in the session. Okay, I've tried my level best. I just try to sum up. Okay, we have started with the some basic terminologies, and then gradually we have talked about Bloom's taxonomy, Krughol's taxonomy, cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. And at the end, I think I have told you about what are the various tools which you can use for teaching, evaluation, and assessment, right? Teaching, evaluation, and assessment. So some of the tools I will demonstrate live in the session. But before that, if you have any queries, right, you can fire it now so that we can discuss certain things. There are 2 possibilities, or otherwise you allow me to go ahead with the demonstration. चलिए, ठीक है, so I'll go ahead with the demonstration. Okay, I'll be sharing my entire screen. Just any one of you, you have to confirm whether it is visible to you. My entire screen is visible to you. Any one of you, just either you can, or if you are not comfortable with unmuting yourself.
Yes, sir.
Screen दिख रहा है सर?
Yes, sir.
चलिए चलिए, thank you. ठीक है, so let's say Okay. I don't know how many of you have used hot potatoes. Any one of you have used hot potatoes? Very handy tool. So even if you have not used, doesn't matter. Okay, I'll just take you to Google. Okay, so hot potatoes. Actually, 7th is the latest version, and you simply type download. Okay, so it will take you to the download section of that. So this is the URL. I will not demonstrate you in a sense that is how to download it. We are all well acquainted with this particular thing, right? But just I intend to demonstrate that is what this tool is all about and how you can use it for setting up of various types of exercises. That is what is the motive. Right. So if you go to this, the very first URL, that is hotpot.uvic.ca. Once again, it is an academic website. See, this is how the rest of the world they work, right? These are their academic projects which they have kept on their website, okay, and which is being used by the rest of the world, right? This is the philosophy normally they adopt, right? So this is download Hot Potatoes 7.0 installer. You need to click on this, okay, then one small executable file. You can download it and then you can run it. Okay, it is not a rocket science involved. Since I have installed it on my machine, I will directly show you that is how to use it, right? But those, let's say those of you who wish to uh, carry out this thing simultaneously, they can try this on their machine, right? They can try this on their machine. So this is Hot Potato 7 installer. Okay, this file is being loaded. Okay, and you can double click it and then it will ask you some basic question and you can install it. Now, once you have installed it, since I have installed it on my machine, okay, I'll show you here. That is how you can use it. So this is how the program will look like. It is a very handy small program. Okay, I'm opening it up. There we are, right? So as I've told you, this is a small freeware, okay, which you can use for creating 5 different types of exercises. Okay, so the very first potato is the J close, then you have J quiz, J cross, J mix, and J match. Okay, and this is the masher. So masher can be used for creating one unit out of the 5 whatever exercises you have created. If you want to launch it as a single unit, you can use the masher. Okay, so we'll go one by one. Let us try to use the very first one, that is the J cross. Okay, so how to create a crossword, that is what we'll just try to have a look at. Okay, so I'll simply click on this J cross. I hope my screen is visible to you. Okay, so this is the J cross. Okay. You need to go to this. This is how right now I have, you can say, launched this particular potato, that is J cross. You need to go to this manage grid, automatic grid maker. So let's say you want to create a crossword. So what is there in a crossword? Usually we have certain keywords. Okay, all those keywords you can type here. Let's say sister is the first keyword. Let's say the second keyword is tour. And the third one is, let us assume that it is UK. So you may have n number of keywords this way. Okay. And then you can go for this make the grid option. Okay. Make the grid option. So simply click on make the grid. Okay. It has created a grid for you. Okay. What next is there? You need to give clues. Okay, you need to give clues. So you can simply click on this add clues. Okay. Moment you click on add clues, okay, you can add clues for each of the keyword. Okay. Say for example, sister, I want to give the clue as female sibling. Okay, click on OK. Then let's say for UK, European country. Okay, click on OK. Then let's say for this tour, I am giving the clue as trip. Click on OK. Now this is all done. Okay, what you need to do next is simply go to this configuration screen. Okay, which is just next to your help question mark, right? So click on this configuration. Now what you can do here is you can configure your output, how your screen should look like. Okay, so you can even set the timer, you can change the color. By default it is black and white. Okay, if you want to change the color, you can go to this appearance tab. Okay, wherein you can go to, let's say if you want to make it of some different color, you can very well do that. I am randomly picking up certain colors. Okay, but you can plan it and you can go for it, right? So the appearance you can change. Then what you can do, you can set the timer. Let's say I want to set the timer. So I have clicked on this timer tab and then click the, you can say the 4 or 5 minutes, whatever is the timer you intend to have. And this is the prompt which will be displayed once the exercise is over. So your time is over or your examination is over, whatever you feel like, you can type over here. Okay. Then click on OK. Okay. What you need to do next is uh, click on this save, this button. Okay. Crossword exercise. I am overwriting it. I've already created it. I am overwriting it. So I have saved it with this name, crossword exercise.jcw. See, the beauty of this tool is it is very handy. It is free. You need not have to pay anything for it. Okay, I'll show you some online tool as well. Okay, wherein if you want to go for a pro version, you have to subscribe, right? If you subscribe, then and then you will get the full functionality. Otherwise, you get the beta version. Okay. Now let us try to launch this. So you have this down arrow, that is quit the program, control Q, or you have just 7 symbol is there. Okay, which is you can use for launching this exercise. Okay. So let's say I'll again name it crossword. Okay. Okay. And then simply say yes. Then you will be prompted with, right? Now either you can view the exercise in my browser or you can do nothing. Okay, let us try to view the exercise in the browser, in my browser, because as I have told you, it will create HTML file. So this is how your exercise will look like. Now you can attempt this. As you can see here, we have set the timer to 5 minutes. So it is moving, or rather it is changing to 450, 50, 49 and so on, right? Now here, let's say I want to attempt the very first one. So if you click on this one, okay, the on the left hand side, the clue will appear, that is female sibling. Okay, so you can very well type here sister, right? You can very well type sister and hit enter key. Okay, then the second one is, let's say simply click on second. So you have trip, you may type the right answer as tour, hit enter key, and then you have the third one as European country, so UK. Okay, so this is how you can attempt all the questions. Okay, and you get the response on the screen itself. All right, so you can check the answers. So, well done, your score is 100%, something like that. So this is what I have done. I have created a crossword exercise. Okay, by simply, it is a completely automated tool. Okay, you can have n number of things here. Okay, you can try different permutation and combination. All those things is quite easily available on this particular platform. Okay, so this is for creating a crossword. On the parallel line, you can create, you can say, the second one is what they call it as is the quiz sort of exercise, right? So let us try with, oh, these many hot potatoes are loaded, right? I was wondering that why it is not running. As a matter of fact, so many applications they have opened up simultaneously. Right. So let us try with the second one. The second one is the I think is the quiz exercise. So you may come up with various you can say I'll show you one or two. Okay, not more than that. Rest of the things you can try on your own because I'll demonstrate you some other tools as well. Okay, so there are few more tools which we will be discussing, but this we will discuss maybe one more tool as far as this is concerned. I'll show you how to use Masher as well, right? How to use Masher as well. That is how you can create a, you can say, so J cross I have told you. Now let us go ahead with, you can say the quiz. Okay, so quiz you can create or you can create a match the following sort of exercise. So everything you can do it quite easily. Let us try to create a quiz. Okay, so let us now if you look at this, let's say this is you can give the title as exercise 1. Okay, now you have various possibilities here as I was talking about. That is not only MCQ, but you can have short answer, maybe hybrid or maybe multi-select, right? So these are the various possibilities one can try here by simply using the drop down list. Okay, now let us try build one small exercise, maybe one or two questions. So let us say in which year uh, WW became publicly available, right? All right. So let us try with MCQ, and the answers are, let us assume that 1995 or maybe 2000, okay, 2003, and maybe 2009. Okay, let us assume that 1995 is the correct answer. Okay, so you can simply use this checkbox to select the correct answer. Okay, and go ahead with the rest of the things I will not show you. Let us not go into the details of changing the colors and all those things. We'll just try to build the exercise. Okay, so let us try to build it with this F7. But before building, it will mandatorily ask you to save this stuff. Okay, let us save it with file name A. Okay, I'm overwriting it. Okay, now as I have told you, I have not made any changes as far as the colors are concerned or the timer is concerned. Okay, no configuration we have done. So by default, it will show us in the black and white, right? Gray and black, whatever is the default. So this is simple quiz, and you can select the correct answer like this. Okay, and accordingly you get the score. Okay. Now the beauty of this, you can say the small application is you can have, theoretically speaking, thousands of questions. There is no limit. So you can create a question bank. Okay. Now let me show you one, what should I say? The small exercise, that is how to use the masher. Okay. So masher we will just try to have a look at. Okay. That is how to use the masher. So on the parallel line, you can create the jumbled sentence exercise, or you can select the J mix, or you can select the J match, and so on. Right. So let us go ahead with hot potatoes. Yeah. So there we are. So I was talking about that is how to use this masher. So masher, as I have explained you, that is, it can be used for creating a single unit out of the exercises, whatever you have prepared using J match, J close, J cross, J mix, and J quiz. Okay. So if you want to launch it as a one single unit, you can use the masher. It is simply an integrator in simple words. So there is a tab, add files. Okay. Now you can add the files you intend to have as a one unit. Okay. Right now I am randomly picking up. So it may happen that the responses will be little bit abrupt, but let us try adding a few files over here, right? So simply hold down the key and you can say OK to all, or you can select one by one. So I am saying OK to all. Okay, then there is a button called, again, you can add or delete files as per your requirement. There is a button at the bottom, as you can see here, is build unit. Okay, if you click on this build unit, okay, it will create a, since in the file name there are some blank spaces in the name. Okay, that's why it is giving some error, but it will come up. Okay, irrespective of that, you will find that it will create some stuff for you. Okay. Right. I've selected so many files. Okay, every time it is checking for file name and so on. Ideally, it is expected that you should not give blank space in the file name. Okay, that's why this error is being prompted many times. Okay, but yeah, so it has created it as one single unit. Okay, now if I click on this exercise one, the students can attempt this particular exercise, then another exercise is there, and so on. So if you click on one by one, this is for match the following sort of thing. Nagpur is, let's say, famous for oranges. So you can attempt all these things in a single go, right? You can check your answers and so on. So the functionality of, you can say, masher is to create one single unit out of 4 5 exercises. Okay. So having said this, let us move ahead with some other tools. Okay. Some other tools are, let's say, online tools. There are lot many tools, but I will demonstrate one or two. The very first one is the Soccerity. I don't know how many of you are using it, but again, this is a very handy and powerful tool. The only problem with this tool is uh, that you get the, you can say, the beta version free of cost. But if you want to use it, you can say, uh, full-fledged version or the pro version, you need to buy, right? You need to subscribe it, right? So I'm going ahead with the, you can say, the presentation of this Soccerity. Okay. Before that, just allow me to. Okay. I'm running out of resources. Let me close all these applications. Okay. Now, let us move ahead with this Soccerity. Okay. So I'll Google it. No worries. Soccerity is the tool. Again, this tool is very powerful. But this is completely online. So when it comes to Soccerity, there are, as a matter of fact, two different login. One is for student and the second one is for teacher. So we'll go ahead with the teacher login first. Okay, I have created some account. So I'll be demonstrating on that login itself. Okay, so let us go to this teacher login. Okay. So this is what I have created basically. Now, what you can do, if let's say if you do not have any account, it is pretty simple. You need to register in the beginning, okay, and then you get this kind of you can say the screen, okay. As you can see here, this is my free version. Okay, if I want to go for a pro version, I need to purchase some subscription, okay, for that particular thing. Now, again, this is completely online. Okay, you can have various possibilities here. That is, you can set multiple choice question, true and false question, short answer question. Okay, quiz again you can conduct. Okay, and there is you can say a button called, okay, launch. Okay, let's say I want to launch some exercise or launch some test. I need to click on this launch. Okay, moment you launch it, and this is the number you need to share with your student. Just like while dealing with you can say the Google Classroom, you share the class code. On the parallel line, you need to share this Atik 6972 with your student community. Okay, when the student goes for logging in, okay, he or she has to enter this particular code, and then he will be taken up directly to this examination page. Okay, whatever examination you have launched. Okay, right now it is showing me the live result as far as my teacher console is concerned. But if some of you wish to attempt this, you can very well go ahead with this student login. Okay, and wherein you need to type this Atik 6972 as the code, and it will be taking you directly to this particular test. Okay, now we will try with the same machine, but what will happen if I try to log in as a student? Okay, then my teacher console will be automatically logged out. Okay, but still I will try to demonstrate you so that you can have a feel of it. That is how it works. Okay, so student login. Okay, as I was talking about, I need to type the room name here or the number. So Atik 692 is the room name or number, and then simply click on join. So I have not created any student account. I will be taken up to that particular exercise. I can put my name here, whatever I feel like appropriate. Okay, and then I can go ahead with attempting the questions. So this is the quiz which is basically created, and the beauty of this particular tool is it has got AI functionality. Okay, that is, you give the topic, it will automatically create maybe 10-15 odd questions of various types. Okay, so this is what has been created by you can say that AI functionality. Okay, so you can have a mix of you can say questions. Okay, just like as you can see here, it is a short answer type. You can submit the answer. Okay, and then moment you submit, it will give you some explanation as well. Okay, let's say the second question is of sort MCQ. Okay, so you can attempt it. Maybe a 3-language formula is the right answer. So let us submit the answer. Okay, it will come up with some explanation as well. So NEP 2020 emphasizes the 3-language formula. So it is pretty good. Okay, pretty good. The only problem is that you need to buy a subscription. Okay, if you want to use it in a full-fledged manner. Okay, otherwise, okay, beta version is very much available. So NEP 2020 proposes 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. You have already attempted, I think, 80 odd questions in the quiz. Okay, so you'll be in a position to answer this. So it is true. Submit the answer. It is coming up with the explanation as well. Right. So let us try to attempt the 5th question. Okay, this is all done. Only 5-question exercise was there. So you have completed the current activity. Now let us go to the teacher's login and find out what is the performance of the student, right? So in if you log in using your teacher console, it will give you you can say if you go to this live tab, okay, it will show you who has attempted. Let's say for example, right now we have attempted this, so this is appearing here, right? Apart from this, it has got very many things. That is, you can generate reports. Okay, you can create multiple rooms if you are teaching to n number of students. You can discover, okay, or you can have a library wherein whatever exercises you have created, for example, these 5-10 exercises which I have created, all those are appearing here. So I can launch any one of them by simply clicking on that. Or you can perform the activities like say deleting, okay, generation of reports, and so on. Right. So this is again very handy tool. But as I have told you, it is not free. Okay. But institutional plans are quite, you can say, only $10, okay, for 21 days, okay, or maybe $15 for some 21 days. So their features, all those things are listed out here. But the idea behind demonstrating these tools is you can use any one of them as per your own need. Okay. Apart from this, let us try to have a look at what they call it as one tool, which is NetLogo. I don't know how many of you have ever came across this tool. This is again a very beautiful tool, which is, I should say, again, an academic project, right? Open source project. And this is the URL, that is ccl.northeastern.edu/netlogo, right? So it is once again academic project. It is built on FOSS philosophy, and this can be used for explaining, you can say, various, it is a bundle of model, I should say, okay, wherein you have n number of models. You name the area, you will find the model is there. Okay, say for example, you need to simply go to this library. Okay, if you go to library, you will find the subjects over there. So starting from arts, biology, you can say computer science, and so on. Okay, chemistry and physics, you name the subject, it is there. Let us go to computer science. Okay, so you have n number of models here. Okay, the model I would love to demonstrate is, let's say I used to teach operating system, okay, wherein when we talk about the interprocess synchronization and communication problem, dining philosophers problem is one of the, you can say, the most difficult to teach in the classroom kind of environment. So you can use this as a complement. Okay, this is the complete model of that dining phosphorus problem. That is how the resources are being shared amongst arbitrary number of users without any communication tool and so on, right? So you can either download this code. This is once again built on free and open source philosophy. Okay, you can even download the code, or you can run the this particular model in the web environment, that is in your browser. Okay, right now I am running it in a, okay, so you can go to this setup. Okay, you can set various parameter, how many, you can say, the hungry chance, okay, full chance, all these parameters you can very well set. The number again you can decide, okay, whether the cooperation is there, again that can be set over there. Okay, and this setup, once you are done, okay, go once. Okay, so this is a live demonstration as far as this model is concerned. Okay, now it is demonstrating that how those common resources are arbitrarily shared amongst the philosophers, right? With hungry chance, full chance, and all those things you can set around. Okay, so teaching certain difficult concept, okay, and even the resource allocation, it is having in a pictorial form. Okay, in a pictorial form, how the resources are being utilized, how they are allocated, and so on. Now, if you simply scroll it down, you will find that it has got a command center. Then it has got, you can say, the documentation. Let's say you are new to this platform. You can get the information. Apart from that, this is the model info. Okay, what is it? How to use it? Everything is being mentioned over there. And then you have what they call it as the code. Okay, NetLogo code. So the code for entire model is there, which you can very well download. You can modify, and you can build your own model, right? So model speed, everything you can manipulate as per your own need, and you can very well demonstrate it in a classroom environment. Okay, so teaching some difficult concept, okay, can be done quite easily with the help of this particular tool, right? So this is another tool, powerful tool, and again it is built on free and open source philosophy. So you can very well use it. Okay. Now, before I finish up, okay, I'll show you one small tool. Okay, one small tool which you can use for brainstorming. Okay, that was again listed out in the assessment slide is the answer garden. Okay, answer garden. Okay, so let us try to have some hands-on on this answer garden. So as the name suggests, it is a tool for creating, you can say again, you can run this particular tool in different ways and means. Okay, there are rather 4 different mode in which you can launch this particular tool. Okay, let's say if you want to brainstorm on a particular topic, you can very well use it. Okay, or let's say if you want to gather the feedback. Okay, let's say I am conducting this particular session, I want to have a feedback of the participant. Okay, so I can very well use it for gathering the feedback and so on. So simply click on this. This is the URL. I hope it is visible to you. That is answergarden.ch/create. Okay, /create. All right. So simply click on this plus sign. Okay, it will create an answer garden. Here you can give the title. Okay, feedback session. Let's say I'm giving. Okay, and there are a few more things which you need to try. As I've told you, that is either you can run it in a brainstorm mode or a classroom mode or a moderator mode or a logged mode. These are the 4 possibilities. Okay, each one is intended for some specific purpose, as clear from the title itself. The beauty of this tool is it is completely free, completely online. Okay, and the you can say the student can give the feedback or maybe brainstorm based on either 20 or 40 characters. Okay, so those settings you can very well do with the help of this 20 or 40. Okay, so depending upon your requirement, you can set it. Okay, then you can allow either lowercase, uppercase, or no change. All those things are possible here. Those settings are possible here. And then this is a create button at the bottom. Okay, if you simply click on this create, this answer garden will be created. Now, let's say I have created this answer garden. Okay, what I need to do is I need to share this code, that is 4403869. Now, if some of you, if you wish to give the feedback as far as this session is concerned, okay, you can very well do that with the help of simply typing this URL in your browser and typing your response. Okay, so this is all from my end as far as this session is concerned. Okay, so let's say if you want to give some feedback, you can very well do that. Okay, so I think I'm done from my end. Okay, I am done from my end. If there are any queries, you can fire it now. There are again few more tools, but I don't know whether you people are, let's say, if you can digest, then I can go ahead with some few more tools, particularly for research and development. Okay, but I'll move as per your you can say the responses. Okay, so if you feel like having some discussion on certain things, okay, we'll move ahead. Otherwise, I'll take up some questions, and then we will have some I should say the valedictory function. Okay, formal, not formal, but a little bit informal valedictory function we'll have. So the forum is open for discussion. If you have any queries, you can fire it now. Anil Dude, sir. Hello. Yeah. Am I audible to you, first of all? Are you with me? Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Audible. Chaliye. At least somebody has spoken. At least. Yes, sir. So, any queries as far as this session is concerned? Or if you allow me, I'll show you a few more tools which are typically used for research and development, particularly writing for, you can say, review article. Okay. So that is there. Okay, few more tools are we can. Yes, sir.
Surely, sir, we love to know that.
Nilesh Chimankar, sir. Okay, so you have to bear with me maybe for 10-15 minutes. Okay, I'll show you some tools which are really helpful when it comes to research and development. So the one of the tool is what they call it as connected papers. Okay, connected papers or maybe research rabbit. Okay, these tools will just try to have a hands-on. Okay, if you allow me. Yeah, I'll again start sharing my screen. Actually, I was expecting few questions from your end, but I don't think that there are any. Okay, once again, I have started sharing my screen. Right? I hope my screen is visible to you. Nobody has responded as far as this session is concerned. Okay, not an issue. Okay, this dining philosophers, they are still working on the job which has been assigned to them. Okay, let us close it. So I was talking about research rabbit. Have you heard this tool? Any one of you? Research rabbit?
No, sir.
No problem. So just try to have a look at this. Okay, this is again a free and open source tool, and it is very powerful tool, right? It is very powerful tool, right? So let's say if you are using it for the first time, you need to either sign up or you can create your account, okay, or you can sign in with your Gmail ID and so on. Okay, since I have created it, I'll directly go for login. Okay, these are my credentials. Okay, then I'll say login. Or otherwise, for the first time user, you have to, as a matter of fact, you have to create an account. Okay, sign up. Right. So this is a tool. Okay, this is once again very powerful and free and open source tool for carrying out, you can say, analysis of various papers. Let's say if you are new to this, what you can do, it will show you a blank screen wherein some new collection, all these tabs will be there. Okay, so you need to simply click on this new collection. Okay, give some specific title. Okay, and then go ahead with adding certain stuff over there. Okay, so let us type AI in assessment. As the title. Okay, now it has created a title, right? So, okay, right. Okay, so what you can do, you can add papers here. You can add papers by simply typing the keywords or the stuff you are looking for. AI in education and research. Okay, let's say, then what it will do, it will show you two tabs over here. One is the biomedical and life sciences, and the second is the all subject. Okay, so you can go for this all subject. Now it is coming up with n number of papers in this particular domain. So I can go through the, you can say, the abstract, and I can very well decide whether this paper is of some use for me or not. So simply go for this add collection. Okay, add to collection. Okay, it will add up all those papers. Okay, so randomly I am picking up. Okay, without any, you can say, thought. So let us. My intention is to simply demonstrate how it can be used. Right. So I am adding up randomly few papers. All right. All those papers are being added here. Okay, let us come out from this. So it has added how many? Still adding some papers over there. It is showing me similar work. Okay, so exploring perception and experiences of ChatGPT in medical education, a qualitative study, and so on. So it is coming up with some stuff over there. Now, if you look at this right hand side columns, you will find that there are around 1,408 similar work. Okay, if I simply click on this, okay, it will show me all those stuff over there. And the beauty of this is that is now I am getting a pictorial representation of all the papers which I have jot down over there. Right. Now I can filter it out based on the author's name or maybe on the timeline. Okay. So timeline wherein I can specify the year. Okay. Or I can go for the network. Okay. I can analyze all these papers to a greater detail. Okay. And then even I can add a few more. You can say the authors who are there. I can see how they are connected with each other. Okay. Let's say if I am giving the timeline. Okay, it is giving me the timeline as 1992 to 2023, what it has taken by default. Okay, and what all those papers and so on. So you can very well come up with, you can say, detailed analysis. Normally, what we do, we download the paper, okay, and then we try to analyze all those papers through, you can say, going through all those stuff and writing all those stuffs in our own ways and means. Okay, instead of that, you can make use of this particular tool. So this is a very fundamental and very powerful tool, okay, which you can use for particularly carrying out literature survey. Okay, literature survey. And the beauty of this tool is it is, you can say it can be connected to Zotero. I don't know whether you are aware about Zotero, but Zotero is a referencing tool wherein you can embed this with the Zotero. So wherein you can put some, you can say some of your papers and you can directly fetch those papers through this, you can say research rabbit, okay, by embedding Zotero into this, right? So it is a very wonderful tool, okay, which you can use for analyzing various papers, finding out how authors are connected with each other, okay, how in what way they have contributed and so on. Okay, so this is Research Rabbit. On the parallel line, you have another tool, what they call it as connected papers. Okay, wherein it will show you only how the papers are connected with each other. Okay, that is the second tool. Okay, Zotero is one of the tool once again. So there are there are a lot of tools. Okay, but we'll not go into the details of all these. But there is one more tool, what they call it as the consensus. Okay, so again you can try some hands-on on consensus, right? Right, consensus again you may try. Okay, it is again AI powered academic search engine. Okay, so this is there wherein you can search. This is specifically designed for research purposes. Okay, it has already taken up my profile because I have created some account. Okay, or otherwise you need to sign up. Okay, now you can ask any question, any silly questions here. Okay, it will come up with some stuff. Okay, AI in education and let's say research, same thing. Okay, so it is coming up with a number of papers. Then again, okay, so it has come up with certain papers. So you can select all those papers once again. Okay, you can shortlist them and then go ahead with your analysis and so on. Okay. So having said this, I think again you can ask certain queries. Okay, you can interact with the document by posing your queries. So you can select a particular paper, you can fire a query, it will come up with the answer. So you need not have to read it manually. What I intend to say is you need not have to read it manually. It will automate some of your task, okay, quite easily. Okay. So this is all about consensus. And I think one more which I've told you is the connected papers. So again, you can try connected papers. Okay. Connected papers. right? Right. So it builds a graph, okay, but it is not free. It comes with some pricing. Okay, beta version is available for demonstration purposes. Okay, but it comes with some price. Okay, so this is once again I have created my account here, but it is showing the stuff over there. Okay, but I think you need to buy if you want to use you can say the pro version of this. You need to pay for it. Okay, so again it will build graphs and it will analyze papers based on abstract, the methodology, and so on. So all those things can be done quite easily with the help of all these AI powered tools. This is once again AI powered tool, right? Connected papers. So this is all from my end, right? I think I have given justice to whatever has been assigned to me. Okay. So this is my, as far as today is concerned, this is my one theory session, okay, in the class. And this is right now I'm speaking. Okay, anyway, so having said this, I thank you all once again for a patience hearing, right? And before we go ahead with the, you can say the valedictory, formal valedictory function, right? I would love to answer your queries if you have any. Let me stop sharing my screen. Yes. So if you have any queries, you can fire it now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
Sir, there is any option to download a research paper in Research Rabbit software?
Sir, this is typically it stores it on the online mode, right? It analyzes the paper, it shows the relationship between various authors. Okay. And downloading whatever is open source, right? Open source in a sense that is open access. I am sorry. Whatever is open access that you can download. But let's say if you are having some sort of, you can say the copyrighted contents, then you will not be able to download it. But open source stuff, you can very well download it, right?
Yes.
It is not, as a matter of fact, it is not used for, what should I say, for downloading the papers, but it is used for analyzing the papers, right? Analyzing the paper, establishing the relationship between various authors, and you can say that for some other activities on the in this regard, but not for downloading, right? Not for downloading.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thanks.
Yes. Yes. Amol Sapkar. Anybody else who wish to ask something?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Dude, sir, please go ahead.
Sir, I would like to ask you one thing. Compared to Google Classroom,
Uh-huh.
which one is the best one? Sir?
Google
Because most of
Classroom
the-
and the hot potatoes which I have demonstrated.
Yes, but it has pricing. It is not freely available for us.
No, this is see, my intention was to share whatever is available in the free and open source platform, right? As I have told you, that is hot potato is a freeware software, right? So you can, without any hitch, you can download it and start using it. Okay. Uh, but as far as these other tools are concerned, for example, Socrative I have demonstrated. If you want to use it as a pro version, you need to pay for it, right? So whereas this is completely free, so why not to use it? Okay. That was the philosophy. That was the only reason for demonstrating those softwares. Okay, Net Logo again, it is free and open source. Okay, Net Logo again, you can play with it, sir. You can download the code, you can modify the code, and you can run it, rebuild it, and you can carry out some experimentations. Okay, you can build your own model using Net Logo, right? So all these stuff is basically free. It is built on the philosophy, what they call it as the free and open source software philosophy, FOSS philosophy in short, FOSS, right? So wherein without any problem, rather without paying a single pie, you can download it and you can start using it. I hope I have answered your query. Do they,
Yeah.
sir? Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for organizing this session.
Your voice is breaking, sir. I don't know. Your voice is breaking. I'm not able to understand.
Traveling.
Your
Traveling into the
okay.
I have your entire session. Very nice session.
Okay.
Cool.
Your voice is breaking, sir. Your voice is breaking. I'm not able to understand what exactly you intend to ask.
I'm traveling.
Okay, okay. No problem. No problem, sir. No problem. We can have a telephonic discussion, no issue. Right? You can call me up at any point of time.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else who wish to ask anything? I think it is all said and done. Okay. There are no more queries. So we'll proceed with normally what we used to call it as a validatory function. I think Principal Avinash Wankade sir is very much there in the meeting. So we will start you can say the validatory function. So it is not a formal function as a matter of fact, but it is as a matter of fact, it is on behalf of my MMTC and HRDC, it is I would like to extend the wholehearted thanks to particularly principal of Baba Sahib Naik College of Engineering, Professor Avinash Wankade sir, for collaborating with us. And I think I have tried my level best as a director of this particular center to fetch the best of the faculty, okay, for undertaking various, you can say, sessions of NEP 2020. And I hope we are successful in you can say meeting out the objectives, whatever has been set out as far as the NEP orientation and sensitization program is concerned. So I request Avinash Wankade sir, if he is having for his special comments, I should say, right, as far as this entire program is concerned.
So definitely I would like to make
Sir.
some special comment for you, sir.
Sir.
So first of all, I am very much thankful to you, especially as you are a director of this Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, and you initiated and you motivated us to your part of this mission and this training, and only because of your contribution and your continuous follow-up, we could do it. And at the same time, I am very much thankful to Sant Gadge Baba University and UGC which sponsored this event. And special thanks to my all head of the departments, and especially Dr. Asole sir, the IST Best Teacher Engineering Best Teacher Awardee, Dr. Salim Amnani sir, and Dr. Jishan sir. They took effort to register the number of participants and to get them registered for this event.
Yes.
So I'm very happy that Professor, due to Atik, we got this chance to be part of this event. So thank you very much, sir. So let us hope in future also.
Yes, sir. We will collaborate, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll have a number of programs.
Yes,
so BSU is always ready for this type of programs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you once again, sir. And
thanks to all the participants to attend all the expert lectures. And special thanks to Atik sir, how you can manage all these great people for the lectures throughout India. So thank you all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And just allow me to thank particularly to Amnani sir and Zishan sir, right? Because they took a lot of effort. Yes. And all the head of the department, even Asole sir, I contacted whosoever I am in touch with, right? So they have extended their support, wholehearted support for making this particular program a grand success. And thanks to all the participants, right, for making it happen. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we'll stop here, sir. We will stop here. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so participants, we will stop now here. Now we are declared that this program is officially over. With one more thing you have to do. Whenever you are logging in this MMTTC portal, there will be a feedback tab. So you have to submit your feedback tab through that MMTTC portal. Right now I will share the link of that portal in our group. You have used your credential and fill fill that feedback form. There will be only 3 or 4 questions and one comment box. So you can make your whatever will be your comment to that particular program. This is the first thing. And second thing, after completion of filling of this program, we will get the data from the UGC. So after getting the data, we will issue your certificate within 3 or 4 days. So it is your prime duty to complete the first feedback. So without completing the feedback, you will not get the certificates. Okay. So I will request each and everyone kindly complete your feedbacks using your credential. And thank you everyone. Right now we are stopped here. And please stay connected with MMTTC Sant Gadge Babam.